So in the last episode, we spoke about the descendants of the giants. These giants were genetically modified creatures that later on became the rulers. In the ancient Apocrypha and also various cultures, traditions and religions across the globe, there is a connection that had been made by the locals, and the knowledge got transmutated verbally or through the depiction of hieroglyphs, and also through written coded text. So throughout the history, there is a connotation, or a mysterious connotation, shall I reiterate, that talks about giants descending from the skies. Now in ancient scriptures, skies as a noun or a symbol, to be precise, is connected with something that contains a lot of information. Now, skies is a modern day jargon. Throughout the history, heavens is the symbol that has been and had been used to describe the firmament that exists beyond the canopy that we see above our heads. Now, in the modern day jargon, we call it the sky, but in reality, it's heavens, means something that is above and mysterious, and also contains a lot of life that we may not be able to perceive due to the restrictions in our 5 physical sensory dynamics. The more you get spiritually means metaphysically from the unseen worlds, right? So think about it. Things that we cannot perceive through our physical 5 senses, to access the unseen or the hidden dimensions and anything and everything that lies within it. As human beings, you have to tap into the hidden or the locked compartments within yourself to be able to unlock the ability or the superpowers to be able to perceive, receive and conceive the information or the beings or the life that exists within those dimensions. And this is where the concept of the giants coming from the heavens on this planetary dimension Earth comes into play, and that's been recorded throughout the history across the globe in pretty much every single epoch and every single religion. As we've established what happened at the time of the Great Flood, the descendants of these giants were genetically modified creatures. Kind of like, imagine human beings mating with Neanderthals or the Homo sapiens that were not formed. Now one may ask that where can you draw the line? What science has explained so far and what religion or the cultures talks about. And when I say cultures, that doesn't mean the modern day cultures. I mean the ancient cultures that exists in their somewhat original forms. Now you can deduce by using the research methodology of taking a large chunk of information, find the relevance throughout the history and throughout different epochs, and then try to make a correlation and then match it up with different sources, different independent sources, then go and do the research and you should be able to see the correlation and the connection that has been the foundations or the primary notion or the primary formulas behind the building blocks of different ancient civilizations. Now, once we mentioned the descendant of giants, we also spoke about the great flood that kind of boiled the creatures that were living and causing havoc on this planet. Now, if you think about the concept of giants, what do you see in there? See something that is taller, something that's big, something that is running the blood within its own system differently as compared to the homogeneous species we call humans. It must be something that is different. That's why their stature is different, taller. So they must have come from a place that has less gravity, and they are also light in colors, have been depicted as flying creatures, means they are emerging from a plane where the effects of gravity is less on their bodies, so they can levitate and fly like birds. And they are big at the same time. So, depending on what epoch we are talking about, you can create different dots and you can then try to create a hypothesis that different descendants in different epochs contained different superpowers or different powers that may seem unnatural or unrealistic from our perspectives, from the human perspectives. That imagine if you see a human being flying like a bird without an aeroplane. You'll be thinking, how's that even possible? Because in general, we do not see human beings flying like birds. Same thing if you saw a human being levitating a ginormous block of stone that can be used to create, let's say, pyramids. You might not think that this species or this kind of a species originated from the same genomes as us. They might look like us, but that species contain certain powers that human beings do not contain, right? Now keep these notions in mind because they are really important for the future research perspectives. Back to the point. So the descendants of giants were genetically modified creatures. They were genetically modified by the beings. They were descending from the heavens and they were bringing in certain technology or certain information that they can bring in from their planets. Certain technology they can bring in portably from their planet or their dimension and bring it over here and then be able to adjust to this planet's atmosphere and living conditions, and then be able to befriend the humans by impressing them or sharing something with them. Here is the mention of the Dogon tribe in Africa, where they dress up like they are praising the sky gods. Same thing, you could find it in Portuguese culture. There is a correlation between Portuguese culture and that Dogon tribe because they are sharing the similar masks, flat faces,